Hello everybody, welcome back. This is Tinker77. Thank you for joining me today. We are again on Full Craft. In the live stream, we finished up all of the chickens, getting them all set up. We actually built another tower just because we needed another tower. But all the chickens are there that you can get to, and all of their drops are being handled properly. So now when we go down here, as you can see, I put glass in so that we can't fall in. I have a little elevator block. I have a crafting grid. This is what I was using when I was doing a lot of the work. But I created a backup chest. In here I have all of the feathers and manure. The rest of the feathers and manures that are drops are being automatically trashed. And then I have 16 or one stack of each type of egg, 10 eggs. All the rest of their egg drops are being thrown away. So the only thing we're getting from these chicken towers are their actual production drops, like iron ingots as an example, and that sort of thing. The rest of the stuff is being thrown away. Another thing I did here, I took all of the 1K discs and I took all the data out of them and put them into 64K disks. So this is our entire storage system is on these, well, really 7 or 8 drives, maybe even 9. So that's all we have for that today. So that's to give you the update. So now, I'd like to say, hey, if you're liking these videos, click that like button. The last video received a lot of likes and a lot of comments, and I was really appreciative. That really helped it and told me I did a great job. So I have one question that came up, and it was kind of odd, and it's basically saying, where do I get my inspirations from? And you know what? I get a lot of my inspiration from watching the other Full Craft players play. Obviously, I watch Iskel85, and you'll see a lot of his things in here. But like the walls, I got some ideas from this from Rendog. And I think I haven't used the same pattern, to be honest. But I try to change it up a little bit, but I get ideas from others. Sometimes I create my own thing. I thought I created the chicken towers myself. I thought that was my idea, but you know, maybe someone else has done it. You can do the same thing the same way sometimes. You can follow what other people do. You can make up your own ideas. Minecraft is whatever you want to make it. And if someone doesn't like the fact that maybe they believe I'm copying off somebody, I'm sorry. That's just the way you perceive it. My perception is I'm making something my own by doing what I want with it. So, well, there you have it. Get off my soapbox now. So for today, what I want to do is I want to work on automating some construction of materials and things that we need. We're going to start working on auto crafting and auto soldering things. So in this room back here, I have started to work on just laying it out, making it look a little better. And I got to put a door in there. But we're going to start working on doing some crafting. So one of the first things we need to get is called a pattern. Okay? And we're going to make that in just a second here. But a pattern here, it takes a bunch of stuff, glass, redstone, quartz enriched iron makes a pattern. The pattern's useful for later on. So I'm going to work on some things here, and we're going to make patterns is going to be our first goal, okay? So what we need to do is, I need to have some cabling going up here, okay? And we're going to put a crafting grid right on top of this, right here, okay? So let's find the crafting grid, and there we go. Come on, get on there. Get on there. Okay, this crafting grid is going to be doing a lot of the work of crafting the things that we need, okay? If you're crafting things that take a normal like crafting grid, the 9-spot grid, use a crafting grid. If it's a solderer, we'll handle that in a little bit, okay? So we got a crafting grid here. Now what I'm going to put right beside it, just so I have access to it, is called a pattern grid. And this is where we'll actually make the patterns that we need, okay? So now let me get some other materials and we'll get started. The first thing we need to do is to make an actual pattern off of the crafting grid. We have to manually make one. So let's go ahead and make it. Here's the pattern. 3 glass, 3 redstone, and 3 quartz enriched iron will have a pattern. And there we have it, okay? Now the pattern grid is what is used to make and record the patterns onto that pattern we just made. So what we need to do is, I'm going to make this again, the same thing. I wonder if I can click on it in here. Does it do it? Okay, so there we go. It makes the pattern. But we got to store that on a pre-existing pattern, okay? So this is the first time you'll see this. It's kind of weird. But basically this pattern says one pattern, which means this is the description on how to make the item. It's a template, if you will, of how to make it, okay? So now what we want to do is we want to make this particular item. So what I do is I'm going to put a cable here. We're going to have the crafting grid make it, but we got to know to make it. And that is using what's called as a crafter. And the crafter is this object right here, okay? Now I have a couple of these already built in my inventory, so I'm not going to build this yet. So I'm going to just grab it right here. Just put it in here. Okay, we're going to need that. Let me get rid of this stuff here. That got put in my, there's our pattern. And we also need, I'm going to use, is called the detector. This is really cool. Okay, so we got those right there. I can put all 4 in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a crafter. I'm going to need a crescent wrench too because it always faces the wrong way. Excuse me. Okay. We're going to put a crafter on top of this here, this line here. Okay. Now the little blue dot, or you can see how it has like a little blue solid line, should be facing down into the cable. So use the wrench to get the facing, and there it did the first try, which is excellent. Okay. And then on top of that, I'm going to put the detector. Okay, there we go. So now this stack, what does this say to do? Well, it basically is going to say the detector will tell me when certain things happen, turn on the crafter, which will send its recipes and materials over to the crafting grid, which will make the items. Okay, so let's look at this again. See, if you look here, we do not have any of those patterns. Let's make another one really quick because I think I need another one. A blank one, I should say. So let's make a blank one. Here we go. Here's our blank one. And you can see it just says there's nothing to it. This one has a pattern installed. One pattern. Okay, so what we're going to say is if we have less than, let's say I want to keep 32 patterns in my inventory. So if I have less than 32 of the pattern, this detector will emit a redstone signal. Now the crafter is waiting for something to happen. So we're going to say only work with the redstone signal and trigger automatically crafting. And the automatic crafting will be this pattern. So when I put this in, it's going to say, hey, I can start work and start making the pattern. So watch. I'm going to put this in. And now if we look here and we do a search on pattern, you can see the numbers going up. And it should stop right around 32. And so it's making all of our patterns for us automatically crafting based on what it has and what it has in our inventory and that sort of thing. And there we go. And you can see it turned off. So now we have lots of patterns we can use. Well, all we have to do is wherever we need anything from a crafting standpoint, we put it right next to this line. And we'll have a bunch of these crafters working with the crafting grid. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay. We're going to try this again just to show this off. I want to have, at all times, I want to have 4 crafters ready to go in my inventory. Now, I've got one on me right now. And if you look, we only have 2. So it will eventually auto-craft this. So what we're going to do is we're going to start to build this out. Let's get a cable ready to go first. Okay, so we have a spot for it. Okay, and then we're going to put a crafter on here. I have one already. We're going to make it so that it's pointing downward. There it is. And we're going to put a detector on top. And you can actually do it off the ceiling. You can see that it does that automatically. So now, we got to look at this. How do we work with this? Well, let me grab another crafter here. Because you have to have, like, it's the weirdest thing, but you have to have one that exists to put in here. I want to say if it's less than 4 of crafter. Okay. Did it just duplicate? I think it did. Anyway, less than 4 of the crafter. And now we have to actually make the crafting recipe with the pattern. We don't have it in here yet. This will wait for a redstone signal, trigger automatically. Okay. So now we're going to the pattern grid again, and we're going to say the crafter. Give me that recipe. So where is the crafter? There it is. Okay, so grab that. Ah, but look, we need a machine casing. We could do a machine casing too. Anyway, we'll use the OR dictionary, which means looks up similar items at work. Put it into a pattern, and there we have it. Okay, so there's our pattern. So I'm going to put this in here. Oh, wrong one. Down here. Okay, and there it went, and then you see it turned off, which means we should have 4 crafters in our inventory. If ever we take one out, this one will start up. Now, if you notice there, I was running out of machine casings, and I probably will run out of machine casings. I have a bunch there, so we can make a crafter for machine casings. That's the idea here. We're going to make various things and just keep on making these things out. And these are automatically craft things as we need them. So the next thing I want to work on is maybe show you one that's with the solderer. For this demonstration of the solderer, I'm going to use the printed silicon. If you recall, printed silicon is just silicon into a solderer, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some silicon in my inventory, which I got a bunch of, and I'm going to get the printed silicon. Now, if you notice, I only have 32 of those. I want to have a lot because that's using all of the various pieces, the processors and the cores and things like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over here, And on top of this block here, I'm going to show you how you make the pattern for that by throwing it out. Okay, let's use a pattern processing encoder. Now I'm going to go over here. I'm going to grab one pattern because we need to have a pattern. Oh, hey. How can I just get one? Oh, we'll put it back there. That was fun. Okay, so what this does is this actually makes the pattern encoding that's used for the solderer, which is different than the crafter, okay? So you put in the item you want, which you say it's one of those and one of those, okay? This will make this, and you have to do this yourself. I'll use the OR dictionary just in case. You take a pattern and you encode it. And there's the pattern for the solderer. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is, and you can see I've got a line coming up here, and I'll show you, is we're going to have a solderer. That's the solderer that's going to do the work. We're going to put an importer underneath it going into it. And you can see it's going down. That'll take the output out. And now, just like we did here, the crafter and the detector, we're going to put those on here. So let me get that ready. Crafter. And again, we're going to have to move it so it's looking the right direction. I put the crescent away. Thankfully, we have a crafting grid right here. Okay, so we'll do that. Have it pointing down like we said. Oops. I do that every time. Okay, redstone signal, automatic trigger. We'll put the pattern in last. Okay, the detector on top. And we're going to say if it's less than, I want to have 64 of these in my inventory at all times. Okay. Just like that. I'm going to put it in here so it knows when to stop, you know, that kind of thing. You can see if I'm pressing shift right now, it shows the item that it would make. So it's a pattern, shift shows you that. That's kind of a neat way to tell. Okay, we're going to go back in here. We're going to put the pattern in. And you can see the solderer starts working right away, making those items. And it'll make it up to the point we need. Now that's pretty cool. So I'm going to start to work on next making up a lot of these so that makes up the processors that you need, because one of the things I want to get is a speed upgrade. And if you remember, speed upgrade, let's see if I can type this out, is this. And it takes sugar, redstone, and upgrade. Well, the upgrade takes improved processors. So we're going to need to get improved processors for sure. Okay, so let's go see if we can do that, because the speed upgrades will help out immensely. So let's start working on getting speed upgrades. I know I said at the end of the last clip that I was going to do speed upgrades, but some of the speed upgrades take the improved processor, which is processors. So I thought I would make all the processors here. If you recall, this was the one where I made, and see it just kicked on. This is the one that makes the printed silicon. Okay, so I made then, this is the one that makes the printed basic processor, improved processor, advanced printed processor. And then these are the ones that put it all together to make a true basic processor, improved, and advanced. So you can see I'm making these advanced right now. This is making the little advanced part. This is making this right here. This is making the actual processor. And every so often, this takes a printed processor piece. And so this one says, hey, I'm below. I got to kick on and make another one. See, there it goes. Okay, so it's automatically storing up what I need for this. This is really great. But now I've looked over here, and I added one for the detector. Okay, and it's been on for a long time, and I only wanted 4 detectors. So something's wrong. What is wrong? Well, let's go look at the detector. I've only got 2, so it's trying to make 4, and it can't. And why is that? We'll put it in here, and you can see the machine casing is missing. Okay, so we should make another pattern for the machine casing. Now, I did find out through a little bit of research that if you want to grab just one item right here, you basically middle click and it'll take one. So there we have a pattern. We're going to be using that. Okay. Now we need to get a machine casing. And there it is over here. Let's make one of those for us. Okay, and now we know what the recipe is. So we need to make, let's see, get another one. Let's get some enrich some of this right here. Okay, so now let's make the pattern right here. Okay, we're going to put the casing in. We'll look at it, grab it here, or dictionary, put the pattern, and encode it. Okay, now the pattern is ready to go. Okay, so now we just got to put in another crafter, another cable, you know, just build this out. It's really easy. We need a cable. We're gonna need a crafter and a, get one of those. Don't need these anymore. And then we need to get another, what is it called? A detector? I always get these names a little confused. Okay, so we're gonna put the crafter down. Of course, it's facing the wrong way. We'll make it face that way, correct? Then I click on that and I click on that. Now I don't put the recipe in until I'm ready to go. I'm gonna say the detector, and let's say we need to have, I don't know. Let's say we have to have at least 8 machine casings. You put the example in there. It says, okay, I've got that. And now I'm going to put the pattern in, and it's going to make it automatically. Should make it automatically. Oh, pattern. Did I get the right pattern? 1 machine casing. Why is that not working? Oh, this is equal to. I want this to be less than. Right. And there it goes. Now, because it got the machine casing, this one said, oh, I'm done. And this one just finished too. So now we have machine casings ready to go. And we have our detectors, 4 of them. This is pretty neat. So as I get pieces that I know that I'm going to need a lot of, I'll just start adding it to the system. See, we're still making advanced processors. But now that we're at this point, I can start to really make the speed upgrades, which will make this a lot faster, because this is just taking forever. The solderer takes a lot of speed upgrade. I can put 4 per solderer. So we need a lot of these. So let's now get that started. The first part of the upgrade is to make that upgrade storage piece. So if you look here, oops, sorry, the @ symbol. Okay, for this upgrade, you need to get this piece here, which is just a store, plain generic upgrade, and it takes this pattern here. We're going to make that. Okay, so let's go over to the, let's get a pattern first. I think I can do it all right here. Let's check. Okay, we're going to hit that, put it in here. There's the OR dictionary. We're going to grab a pattern. I'm middle clicking, putting in here, encoding it. That's what we want for the pattern. Okay, excellent. So now we're ready to go. I added one of these already beforehand to the magic of the internet. And I'm going to say I want to have at all times a lot of those. Now see, I don't have one in my inventory to show. So I definitely have to make one first. And that's one of the downsides of this particular system, is the way you have to do this. So I'm going to make one. There we go. Now I have an example for the detector, saying if I have this, okay, then make that. And if you look, let's put this back in here real quick. We'll do this upgrade again. It's already building up a lot of those upgrades. Very easy. Now we just need to do the speed upgrades. Okay, so that's the next step. Okay, now we're going to make the speed upgrade. So here we go. We have to have a speed upgrade already made for this device. So let's just make one. We already have one up, so that's great. Let's do that. Okay, and what does it take to make those? Well, it takes a redstone. It takes sugar. Okay, and then it takes the upgrade piece, which we have one of these right here. I'll take it out. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to go over here. I got to grab a pattern too. Don't forget the pattern. I always forget the pattern. Okay, going over to our pattern encoder, since this uses the solderer, and this is the recipe right here. Oops, there we go. Okay, and that makes a speed upgrade. Here, we're going to encode it, and there it is. Okay, we can get rid of all that. Now, if we go over here, I've already created this right here, so we need to make sure to say, hey, if it's a speed upgrade, and it's, listen, I want 32 of them. I want to have a lot of them ready to go. If it's less than 32, make them, and the crafter will go. And there we go. It's making them. Now I'm going to start putting these speed upgrades into the solderer to make it faster. See that? It goes a little faster. Let's grab the other 3. There's 4 now. So now I can start to add these to our solderers. Here we go. Just for now. And watch how fast this will be when I put all this in. 2, 3, 4. And now it's running a lot faster. Now this right here is the next one. This was, I believe, the diamond one. We'll just start adding these to it. It will work really fast. And see, this is using up improved processors. So this improved processor one is starting to make them. So this is just, you can see things just keeps on automating as it goes. Now, I have another one of these that's stuck. And this one is the crafter. So if I try to make a crafter, something's going wrong. I've got 2 here. And I put that in here. What am I missing? Ah, we're missing this right here, which I believe is the destruction core. So that's what I'm going to do next, is just make one of those. Destruction core, right? Is that what it is? Make sure. Yeah, destruction core and construction core. These are used in straight crafting. See, it's the basic processor and nether quartz. And the other one I think is, let me check. It's glowstone. So I can make those two. I'm going to add those two next. Okay, we're going to start the next thing here. We're going to do this really quick. Okay, so it takes this and makes that word dictionary, throw it onto a pattern. There's that one. And the second one, really, it just takes that. I'll throw that onto a pattern. Okay, and there we go. So 2 patterns are ready to go. Now I can run over here. I want to have 32 of these. Since I'm doing 32 of every processor, I want to have 32 of these. So let's say if it's less than 32 of that, pick that up. And the crafting recipe is destruction core. And there it goes. This one, again, less than 32 of the construction core. Do that. And there we go. So now we should be able to see the construction core being made. Excellent. And the deconstruction core, destruction, sorry, is there too. Now see, this is stopped again. See, this is the point, is that there are things here that they might need, and we got to figure out what they are, and we'll make those crafting recipes. And we'll just continue on. And then all of a sudden this whole system will be automated, so whenever we need any tool, we can just grab it from the crafting grid and we know it's ready to go. So this room eventually will be a lot longer as I figure all this stuff out. So I hope that's kind of a good explanation on how to work with this. Again, I just have it. You have a pattern grid to make your patterns. You have a crafting grid, which is the crafting side of things. Cabling goes into that. This is like a separate side of it, okay? And then you have crafters. And when you set the crafter, you always set to work with redstone, trigger automatically. Detector tells you how many of the item, and you just stack them. Solder is slightly different. You do use a pattern or a processing pattern encoder instead of a pattern grid. Processing pattern encoder. And basically you have the same stack. You have the detector, the crafter, the solderer instead, and then but instead of the going into a cable, you use an importer. And that's it. That's really all you do. And you just make up the items you want, and you start auto crafting. So that's what all I've got for today for this video. This has been a little bit longer, but it helps to explain what was going on there. Probably if I do a live stream, I don't know if I'm going to be able to, but if I do a live stream tonight, we'll just keep on adding more stuff to the crafting section. I want to make this room a little bit better, so, you know, we'll get there. So until next time, thank you for joining me. If you like this video, please click that like button. Those are really helpful. If you have any comments, please put them in the comments section. If you'd like to be notified of the videos I produce, please subscribe to this channel. Also, let anybody else know about this channel. Let's try to get the subscriber base up and get some views going. We're starting to get some speed here, and I'm really liking what's happening. So all your help is greatly appreciated. So until next time, thanks. Have a great day. Bye-bye.